All right, y'all. I'm back. I'm back doing a stream, one of my one-off streams. So I just wanted to go ahead and get right into it. I know it's late, so I just wanted to go ahead and offer my 2 cents. So those who are still up, hey, just welcome on, come on down and chat, and we can discuss a few things. So, well, what we're going to is the zone fight card that took place in Dallas, Texas last night. That was the Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders card, which we had over 70,000 plus or 73,000 people there in attendance, which is the largest largest attendance for a boxing event in the United States history. So um, I gotta say, kudos to Eddie Hearn and of course Canelo Alvarez, who's the number one pound for pound fighter of the world, to put that together. So shouts out to them. And as far as the card is concerned, uh, definitely not a very good card. I mean, I know there were some moments in some of those fights, but definitely not a good card. But Canelo and Saunders was a decent fight. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into that. So first things first, Billy Joe Saunders. Well, leading up to the fight, he created a lot of controversy going in because he had raised three different issues um, going into the fight. One of those issues was the purse. He initially signed on, I think his purse was $2.5 million, which was his guaranteed purse. I don't think he was going to earn any upside on that. I think that was a flat fee, and that's what he was going to get. And that was due to the fact that he was told that they were going to have little to no crowds for the fight. And then when the news broke out that there will be in attendance over 70,000 plus people, Saunders kind of rose a little concerned about that. Said, wait a minute, why am I getting a flat fee but not share of of the revenue, of the ticket revenue coming in? Um, so, so yeah, that is a legitimate concern because you kind of like got swept, kind of got the short end of stick on that situation after you initially were told that there will be little to no crowds for this fight, and that's why you accepted the purse as is as a flat fee from what's been reported. So Saunders let that go. And then the other complaint that rose that he had was the well before the ring size, but there was another complaint that he had. Help me out here, Ahmed. What was the other complaint he had? I mean, he was complaining about the purse due to the crowd situation, due to the attendance situation. Uh, well, it'll come into my mind. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? So basically, he was also complaining. Well, the second complaint I have to damn, what was it? Okay, I'll get to that. I'll get to that shortly. So it'll come to mind. So the third complaint was the ring size. Here's the part. Here's the part where I don't give Billy Joe Saunders any benefit of the doubt here because he signed on to the agreement that they were going to fight in a 18 size ring, 18-foot ring. He signed on to it, and then next you know, when he found out that the ring size was 18 feet, he got pissed off. He demanded to be 24 feet. And then Eddie Hearn was trying to meet him in the middle. They say, look, 20 feet or, that's it. We'll meet you in the middle in 20 feet. He said, you know what? He and his father threatened to pull out a fight if they didn't get what they wanted. So Canelo was reached out by Eddie Hearn. Eddie and Canelo said, that's fine. Give him what he wants. I'll give him the 24-foot ring. And then Eddie Hearn said, well, are you sure? He's like, yeah, give it to him. So that's the type of fighter Canelo is. He believes in his own ability rather than than a simple advantage was the ring size. So yeah, he may have preferred the 18 feet because Canelo doesn't like people who move around a lot. But he's as confident in his ability because he knows he can catch them eventually by breaking them down with their body shots. See, that's what you do to movers like Billy Joe Saunders, Tyson Fury, or guys like Floyd Mayweather, guys who move around in boxing gives you angles. You have to keep them stationary by digging them to the body because once you hurt them to the body frequently, they won't have any legs. Their legs will be uh, wouldn't be the same. They won't have the same upper lateral movement, and they'll be stationary targets. And to be fair, Billy Joe Saunders wasn't quite too stationary, but he was slowing down because of those body shots he was taking from Canelo. He could say that those shots weren't hurting him. Yeah, they were hurting because you could hear those shots how powerful they were, and they were getting to him. So other than that, look, the fact is that Billy Joe rose so many. He was just bitching and moaning before going into the fight, right? So he gets what he wants from Canelo Alvarez. Oh yeah, the judges. There you go. Now the judges and the purses. I'll give Billy Joe Saunders the benefit of the doubt there because he was told, which was agreed upon, there will be a English judge, which makes things neutral. Fair enough. Then he was told. Then Eddie Hearn comes back to him and tells him there ain't gonna be no English judge, and he was pissed off about that. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. One with the purse and one with the judges. Now the ring size, yeah, I can't give him no slack for that one because he initially agreed to the ring size and now he want to bitch and moan about it. It's too small all of a sudden. So yeah, I can't give him the benefit of the doubt in that area. All right. But anyhow, let's just talk about the fight. Now, me personally, I gave Billy Joe Saunders 2 rounds. If I wanted to stretch it out, maybe 3 rounds at best. I don't see how anybody can have him win that fight before the stoppage. I can't see how. I mean, Chris Mannix, his card was a bit bizarre. I don't know what fight he was watching. Look, I know scoring, and it depends what you like. If you like the upper lateral movement and the defensive tactics that Billy Joe Saunders was employing that night, okay, fine, that's what you like, so be it. But he didn't really he put a few musters and shots here and there, but he was trying to give Canelo some angles the best way he can to confuse him, but that didn't work because Canelo knew how to keep him stationary by breaking down to the body. Whenever Billy Joe Saunders dipped, Canelo was hitting him with some uppercuts. Now, to be fair, Canelo was missing a fair amount of those uppercuts. But the fact is that he landed like 3 or 4. When he did land those uppercuts, they were brutal. And let's speaking of the uppercut that kind of that kind of sealed the deal for Canelo in stopping Saunders was that uppercut in the 8th round where Saunders tried to come in, dip in, and give him an angle with the right hook coming in, and then Canelo just dipped back a little bit, and then he hit him with that vicious uppercut that broke the right side of his eye and his cheekbone. And then from there, Saunders knew what was up right there. He knew something was broken after he took that shot, and that was a powerful shot. And to be fair, he took that shot and his legs buckled, and he still stands. So I give Billy Joe Saunders a uh, okay, cool, Ahmed, I'll do that. To be fair, you got to give Billy Joe Saunders some credit there. He took that shot. Anybody else probably would have gone down with that shot. Anybody who does, I mean, that's a very powerful shot. Other than Gennady Golovkin, but anybody else probably would have went down with that. But anyhow, um, so Canelo pretty much, put on a barrage of unanswered punches in that 8th round, and Billy Joe Saunders took a bad beat in that round. I don't give a damn what anybody say. Yes, he had success early on in that round, a little bit of success here and there, but he took a bad beat in that round. Okay, and then the way he was reacting to those feints was a bit strange too, because obviously it was due to the fact that he got hurt. Yeah, what's up, Umbies? Yeah, we're gonna talk about Demetrius Andrade in a minute because he's pissing me off. And all these people who talking about that Canelo needs to fight him, yeah, well, we'll talk about that. Does Canelo need to fight him? Absolutely. But but the fact is, you can't give Demetrius Andrade fucking slack for all the fights that he avoided. Nobody was forcing him to take the fights that he was supposed to take. All right. What I mean by that is that there was no public pressure for him to fight Matt Korobov, no public pressure for him to fight Sergey Deverchenko, no public pressure for him to fight Jamel Charlo, no public pressure for him to fight Arizlan Lara, which he avoided all those fights. He did, and yet they want to call they want to call Canelo a coward for dismissing him. Oh, come on, man! Now again, does Canelo have to fight Andrade? Absolutely, but I do understand the situation for what it is. Andrade needs to fucking concede and go up to 168 and fight Canelo. Canelo's not going down to 160 fight the guy. That's not going to happen. All right. And Andrade's father they were asked about this, I think about a month or 2 years ago, I believe. And they asked him, look, if you have to go up to I think it was a year ago. If you have to go up to 168 to fight Canelo, would you do it? They're like, no, how many times do we have to go up and wait? We're not doing that. So they're not budgeting at 160. So if they really want that fight, then they're going to have to concede to Canelo's demands. Move up to 168, and then you get more likely to get the fight. All right. First of all, Andrade's done a lot of talking, man. Yes, he's a very, very good talent. He's a good fighter. But the fact is that look, he hasn't really been a impressive champion. He hasn't. Does he have some decent wins here and there? Absolutely. To me, his resume is almost on par with Billy Joe Saunders if you think about it. Now you can argue Billy Joe Saunders has a bit of a better resume, but they're not that far apart from each other. And furthermore, both these guys hasn't really been active in their careers. I mean, to be fair, Andrade's been active as of late, but these two are just a similar, and not only the style, but also similar as far as their activity and resume. Okay, again, look, Demetrius Andrade, for him to break that, to go ahead and crash the post fight press conference. Look, that's what he's supposed to do. I got no problem with that. But my problem is that everybody who's going out there and trying to undermine Canelo's win over Billy Joe Saunders by bringing up Andre, I keep calling him Andrade, by saying that Canelo's afraid of him, he's ducking him. I'm like, nah. First of all, well, you tell if that's the case, then where was that same energy when Andre was ducking 4 or 5 fighters through 154, 160? You know, turning down mandatory shots, title shots. He was doing all kind of shit, voiding big fights, fucking over promoters' money because he wouldn't commit to certain fights. Nah, man, this guy needs to. If you guys gonna press Canelo, then you got to press Andre for the same shit that he did. Okay, I know people say, well, that's a pass. You can't hold that against him. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why are you so hard on Deontay Wilder then? See, this is what I'm talking about, consistency. Nobody's consistent on this platform at all. I mean, hardly to anybody. It's like for some reason you don't want to hold that same level of criticism from one fighter that you like, but when it goes to another fight, but when it comes to a fighter that you don't like, then that's a different problem. So yeah, let me try to get this link over to Hamed. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh shit, hold on. These StreamYard links, I swear. Copy. Let's go ahead and bring it over here. How did I do it last time? Oh, okay, here we go. There we go. All right, so give me 1 second, Hamed. There you go. I'm live. All right, give me 1 second here. Put it in the other chats. Okay, come on. Yeah, Joe B. Yeah, it's just like yeah, man. I just don't like the fact that people are pressuring Canelo to fight this guy when he's fucked up his majority of his career. Yes, I'm a guy who say, you know what, let's not forget about the past. I say that about Deontay Wilder. I do agree with that assessment. He's fighting now. He can't be ignored. I get that. But at the same time, I see this is why I got to point out the double standard. The same people who were pissed off didn't like the fact that people were pushing Deontay Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua after he beat Klitschko. We're going after Deontay Wilder, say he hasn't done anything. Why does he deserve to fight? Are the same people that arguing that Canelo should fight Andre. He shouldn't neglect him. See the double standard? It's just, it's just amazing, man. The people can't be consistent on here. What's up, Mr. Doc? So, yeah, I mean, this guy needs to do something, man. I mean, seriously, do something, man. I mean, look, there's Derevchenko that's there at middleweight. I mean, there's Charlo. I know Jamal did turn down the fight, so that's not Andrade's fault. I get that, uh, but I mean, there's other fights he can take, man, and he just seems to like want. He seems like he wants to wait out until he get that big payday. That's what it seems like to me. He's holding out, and the fact that look, yeah, look, I like the again. He's a good fighter, but I just don't like the way he's trying to look, talk himself into the fight as that's how you want to put it. But yeah, he needs to, he don't need, Canelo got better things to do at this moment. He's got Caleb Plant, so that would be a very difficult fight for him. And I think Caleb Plant will do a better job on Canelo than Billy Joe Saunders because Caleb Plant, he can, he's a very, he can give you angles. He's more of a counter puncher. He doesn't have a high punch output. But he hits a lot harder. He's a natural super middleweight, so he's a naturally bigger guy than Billy Joe Saunders. So, but I still favor Canelo to win the fight, but it'll be much tougher than the Billy Joe Saunders fight, in my opinion. So, anyhow, speaking of Billy Joe Saunders, I have to go back to this now. He, what's up, Michael Johnson? Michael Johnson, what's happening, man? Plant gonna get whooped too. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Again, it's gonna be a tough fight. It wouldn't surprise me if Plant wins that fight, but I don't expect him to I don't expect him to beat Canelo. I don't. He'll give him a tougher again. He'll give him a tougher fight than Billy Joe, but no, I don't see him winning that fight. No, but he could win it. But I favor Canelo slightly. What up, Mike? Mike Wilson for pound boxing report. Long time no hear. Yeah, Andrade got three fanboys like Bruce Fain. That fool was talking smack on Twitter. You know what? Bruce Fain is an interesting guy. He's an interesting character, to say the least. All right, and he's another guy who criticized Deontay Wilder for his resume and the shit that for fights that he should have taken as a and what I say he used that as a a disqualification mark as a way to say Deontay Wilder doesn't deserve Anthony Joshua. Okay, but this is the same guy who's bitching and criticizing Canelo for a long time now, is now saying that Canelo needs to fight Andrade, that he's avoiding him. Well, Andrade's resume, in my view, Andrade's resume is worse than Wilder's. Wilder has a better resume than fucking Andrade, and that this is a guy who criticized Deontay Wilder's resume. It said that it's like the double standard, man. You see what I'm saying? Fight doctor, what's happening, man? Yeah, it's like people who were fucking trying to shove Andre down Canelo's throat are the same people who were bitching and criticizing Deontay Wilder when he was trying to get the Joshua fight. Yes, they were both, playing games. They both avoided each other, which is a fact because Joshua admitted himself. You can argue that Wilder turned down more offers than Joshua, but the fact is that this is the double standard that I'm pointing out. No consistency at all. So yeah, the chat's coming in, and yes, more people coming in than I thought. I need to start being more consistent with these live streams, man. But anyhow, Billy Joe Saunders. Now, a lot of people are going out saying that he didn't quit. There's several people, I should say. There's some people who are saying he didn't quit. Black and Brown, what's happening, man? Yeah, exactly, Mike. I said the same thing. Yeah, Andre's resume is not that different than Billy Joe. Exactly. They both have similar resumes if you think about it. You also say that but I say, let me see. But I say that Andrade is a deserving fight to Canelo as Billy. Yeah, it is. I don't disagree with that. I say Andrade does have to fight Canelo, and Canelo has to fight him. But I don't like the fact that this is a guy they're criticizing Canelo, call him a coward, call him a ducker, and yet Andrade's fucking ducked out of many fights. He's ducked out a handful of fights, and no, these same fools who criticize Canelo and criticize Andrade for that shit that he pulled at 154, the shit he pulled at 160. Well, not exactly. Well, yeah, a couple fights at 160. So it's like you didn't criticize him for ducking out of dangerous fights, but yet you want to criticize Canelo for supposedly avoiding him. No consistency at all, man. In fact, let me put the link in here in case you guys want to come on. So, yeah, Joe Lopez says Andrade is not even the same division as Canelo. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, though, he's gonna have to, if he wants a Canelo fight, he's gonna have to go up and wait. So, I mean, it's the way it is. Canelo's not going back down to 160. I don't think he'll ever do that. Maybe he'll do it for one fight, but at this point, he's not going down to 160 for Andrade. Andrade's gonna have to come up. In fact, Gennady Golovkin, if he wants that third fight with Canelo Alvarez, he's gonna have to go up to super middleweight, and we know Golovkin at the higher weights is not that not that powerful. So that's well, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that third fight, but as of right now, that chapter is closed. So yeah. Mr. Doc says that yo, Dan, it's bad when people like you and me find ourselves defending Canelo. Yeah, yeah, and you know what? That's the thing about it too. You know, Mr. Doc, that I'm not a big Canelo Alvarez fan. I've criticized him on several occasions, but in this instance, how could you criticize a man? He's been fighting more consistently. He's fighting like two or three. He's fighting he's very active. This is his third fight in what? This is his third fight. What, in in 6 months. That's impressive. He's fought Callum Smith. He's fought I can't even pronounce his name. Yuvni Eldrum. He fought him, even though that was a mandatory defense. We didn't like that fight, but it is what it is. He got it out of the way. He took care of that. Then he fights Billy Joe Saunders, unifies another belt at 168. He took 3 fights in a 6 month time span. And yet people are criticizing him because of Andre. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Who's Andre fought? Oh, yeah, he fought Liam Williams. I'll give him credit for that win. Okay, Murek Selecki, decent win. But all the other wins at 160, Walter Dakadoka, no. Who's the other guy? Luke Keeler? Hell no. Oh, come on, man. Mr. Doc, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Dan?
Oh, man, long time, man.
Strange times. Strange times.
Strange time indeed, man. So, hey, oh, yeah, let me ask you this, man. What do you think about Billy Joe Saunders quitting last night?
He got his face busted. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Man quit. Man quit. I mean, boxing's a tough game. It's the way it goes. Some people fight through it, and some people quit. And I know it sounds like I'm trying to put the boots to him while he's down, but I'm really not. I'm just being honest. My assessment of the situation.
Right.
As far as the fight, I enjoyed it up until the stoppage. I thought it was pretty even. I don't have my card in front of me, but it was pretty even, I thought.
Well, I mean, yeah, fair enough. But obviously, I thought Canelo was beating him pretty comfortably. I mean, I could give it.
Well, he was starting to break. What it is? I mean, you do things round by round.
Yeah,
pretty even. But that last round, he was clearly breaking him down. Even if Billy had come out, I think he was either getting stopped eventually, or he was just going to get beaten up the rest of the way.
Yeah, he probably knew that. And look, here's the thing, though. When Mark Tibbs waved the fight off, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could say Billy Joe Saunders didn't what you call it. Is this Michael Johnson? Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, you know it. Yeah, it's me.
Hey, what's up, man?
You thought it was one of those trolls coming up in here.
Yeah, I thought so too, man. I'm like, who's this?
Troll watch.
Yeah,
he was on the mute button real quick.
Hey, yeah, but hey, look, let me just say this real quickly, dog. Let me say this, guys. Look, did Billy Joe Saunders say he was going to quit? Did he say he quit? I didn't see that. But when Mark Tibbs waved off the fight, I didn't see him complain about it. He didn't protest him stopping that fight. So if you don't protest, that means you gave up. You gave up. You quit.
Oh, and let's be honest here, okay? The reality is we wouldn't probably be making nearly as big a deal out of this if Billy Joe hadn't run his mouth and then some.
Right. Yeah. Look.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I put it like this. Like, let's just say this. Just be fair.
Yeah.
Even if we did jump the gun and say the dude quit, right?
Right.
Like you were saying, like we all heard. He said what he said about Billy Joe, right? I mean, no, he said what he said about Daniel Dubois, right?
Yeah. Right.
He said what he said about gypsies being warriors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he came in the ring and, if you in the corner, if you can't see, you're not going to tell your trainer that you can't see. You're not going to tell your trainer things that that your trainer, your coach, or whoever is going to stop the fight. Right. Now to tell him certain things. And that's what he did. And we seen him. He did not look like he wanted to protest it or anything like that. He was with it.
Yeah, I didn't see Joe Frazier arguing with Eddie Futch.
Yeah, exactly.
Vociferously, like in a Thrilla in Manila, where he literally couldn't see. And, all that. That's not what I saw.
Wait, hold up. Fight Doctor, he don't like Canelo, but I like Fight Doctor. But he says, look, Saunders didn't quit. He just got knocked. He got the fight knocked out of him. No, he quit, man. He quit.
That's what the definition is.
Now here's okay. Here, I'll play. You know me. I love to play devil's advocate. Here's what you could say if you want to really split hairs. All right, you could say Billy Joe quit for a good reason.
Yeah,
because his face got busted. But you quit. You quit for a good reason, though.
Yeah, he did. But his words are going to come back to haunt him because he criticized. He shafted Daniel Dubois and for quitting, taking a knee and quitting against Joe Joyce for the same injury. But the fact is, the difference is Daniel Dubois had that injury in the mid fight in the sixth or seventh
No,
round. He fought on until I think for 3 more rounds with that
but
same injury. Billy,
Johnny, but
mm,
but
yeah,
he said that until his post stops. That's that's
yes,
that's what Billy Quit Sanders said.
yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah, he did this to himself. Billy did this to himself. These are self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, and what amazes me too is like people are defending him, defending, for him to pull out the fight the way he did. Look, yeah, you live to fight another day. I get that, but the fact is that any other fighter would have done that. Yeah, but look, Sugar Ray Leonard fought with a detached retina against Tommy Hearns that first fight. Now that's just as bad, okay? And he beat Tommy Hearns in 14
And
rounds.
hey, you know what?
Yeah,
Not for nothing. That eye was looking awfully bad.
No,
I'm
right.
not. I'm not. I'm not
okay.
gonna say. I'm not gonna say as bad as Billy Joe's, but not that much better. When
Nah,
when,
yeah,
when, when remember
Who's
when
that talking right
when
there?
Dundee's telling him you're blowing it, son?
yeah, exactly. You look at Ray
Who was
Leonard's
that
eye.
talking right there?
What's
I'm
up?
sorry,
Who was that talking? Who's the
me.
guy talking? The other guy?
Yeah, Doc. That's me,
No, I just want to know your name,
Yeah,
Doc.
Mr. Doc. That's Mr. Doc, man.
Mr. Doc. The
Yeah.
reason why I want to know your name because I want to know what to call you when I say your name. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
want
Uh,
to
Yes,
just
sir.
keep saying hey you. And, you know what I'm saying? I want to be
I got you. I
respectful.
got you.
All right,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Doc. Like, okay, I'll give you a point in time. I almost lost my eye, right? I was sanding some shit with a grinder and got some fucking rust in my eye, right? That shit fucking hurt,
Mm.
right? But I kept the job up. And I didn't know I almost lost my eye, but I kept the job up, right?
Yeah.
So, but I heard about detached retinas. Now that's something fucking else,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right? That's
Yeah.
something fucking else to get metal in your fucking eye. But I know what it means to get like metal underneath your fucking eye, and every time you blink, that shit fucking hurts.
Yeah.
We talking about fucking detached retinas, iris, and all that other shit. Like I played semi-pro football. I played a whole game with a fucking broke hand, and then later on I had to get a fucking plate in my fucking shit. I got a plate in my fucking hand right now, my third metacarpal.
Right.
Um, and I played that game, and I played the whole season, but with the because I played defensive back, but I played the whole season with a fucking cast on my shit, right?
Right.
But the whole thing about it is, football players, whatever the case may be, we always have this fucking mentality of not fucking quitting.
Right.
We always have this mentality of not quitting, like dying for a yard or whatever the case may be. We always have that mentality. But I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
this one. I'm gonna tell you this one thing. People would say that shit, but would give that yard up in the quickness.
Yep. That's a good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying on that one, man. But yeah, like I said, man, he didn't do himself. Billy Joe didn't do himself any favors for his past comments about fighters quitting because of injuries like that he suffered last night. But what I would also, kind of he didn't do himself any favors that he didn't even stay in the ring to congratulate Canelo Alvarez for beating him. He just walked out. So that right there is another thing that he's going to get blowback for. It's like you didn't even congratulate your opponent. Now, people could shit and criticize Wilder, okay, fine, for the way he behaved after the Tyson Fury fight, but the second fight, that is. But at least he stood in the ring after the fight was stopped that he congratulated Fury. At least he did that. And Wilder
With
didn't,
a fractured skull.
yeah, and Wilder didn't quit. So the fact is, there's two different situations here. Who people who just want to give Billy Joe Saunders the benefit of the doubt. I mean, god damn it, if that's the case, then why are you guys so hard on Wilder when he got stopped? It's just like, yeah, I mean, me, I'm pointing out that,
Look. Yeah,
yeah,
we're talking about a brutal blood sport. All right,
right,
and me and Dan talk about this all the time. All right. At the end of the day, when your career gets measured up against everybody, from the past, all the greats, right?
yeah,
But from back to front, at the end of the day, what a lot of really what this kind of comes down to is who's willing to suffer the most to try and be great.
yeah,
And Billy wasn't willing to suffer as much as a bunch of guys that we can name a bunch of his contemporaries. Now, is that fair per se? No, but boxing's not fucking fair. Life's
No,
not fair.
of course not. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah, and it's a brutal blood sport. What I mean, let's just be honest about what it is. It's
Well,
not.
look. Sam Langford, guy who was avoided by everybody during his time, fought with fucking
Yeah,
with a blind eye, one blind eye throughout his career. Hey, those are more dangerous fights back then when the rules were not that strict. Okay,
yep.
Joe Frazier fought with one eye throughout his entire majority of his career. So I
Well,
mean, he built
well, no,
these two
hang
guys.
on. Let's linger on Sam Langford for a second.
Yeah,
Sam
okay.
Langford, and you help me out here, Dan. Sam Langford, a guy that started at what weight?
He started at I think welterweight, I think, or lightweight. No, I think he.
I want to say lightweight. I'm tempted
Yeah.
to say light. A guy that we'll say lightweight for the sake
Okay.
of now. All right. So,
Right.
and if somebody can, somebody that's a historian can correct this, fair enough. But if I recollect, he started at a lightweight. This is a guy that, to Dan's point, was fighting with one eye against friggin' heavyweights at times.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah, look again though. So basically, Billy Joe. Look, Billy Joe. When look, if he felt he couldn't continue, he couldn't continue. But the
No, I
fact is,
know,
yeah,
but okay, you know what, Dan? Let's do this because
yeah,
people will say, "Oh, it's unfair to compare," what those guys in the days of Sam Langford and whatnot were willing to go through, or whatever,
right, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Let's do everybody a favor. We'll just use some modern, current fucking examples. Nonito Donaire against Rigondeaux.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I mean that orbital break looked
yeah,
every bit as bad as what Billy Joe went through. Man
yeah.
finished the fight. Okay.
Well, that was the last round of the fight, so we don't know if Donaire would have continued. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was. I don't know. I think he was getting busted up for a long time in
Well,
that fight.
yeah,
But
Naoya. Anyway, speaking of Donaire, no,
there you go.
Naoya. Anyway,
Exactly. That was where I was going next.
yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
He fought a bigger man who broke his orbital bone. He continued to fight on. So,
Yep.
I mean, Ebony Bridges, when she fought Shannon Courtney a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Look at
Yeah.
that eye.
There's a woman, Billy. Now, come on. What do you expect? How much sympathy do you want?
I know, man. If I'm Billy Joe Saunders, man, I would say lay low for a while. Shout out to Mr. Boxer today in the chat. Shout out to Steven
Oh
4722.
shit!
Yeah,
He already laying low. Like Edward already put his flight plans out with his doctor. He put his HIPAA out there and all that shit.
That's
All
why
that
he got
shit.
out of the
Like,
ring. Yeah, that's why he got out of the ring. He's headed right, like you said, heading for the hideout.
yeah, my whole thing was like, I thought it was really funny. Like, through this whole week and throughout this whole fight, like they kept bringing in Tyson Fury to speak on Billy Joe, and all
yeah,
of a sudden he get his ass whooped. He's nowhere to be found to get an interview. But I guarantee you, if Billy Joe would have won, that was been the first guy they looked for to do an interview with. But other than that, like I never thought there was a way for Billy Joe to win. I I wanted him to win, but I didn't see a way for him to win. I told folks on kind of local sports, I told them it's like sixth or
yeah,
seventh, he's gonna get tired, eighth or ninth, he's gonna be out. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Kind of local said the same thing. Um, and it's like one of those things. Like, so now we're supposed to be happy about Canelo's win for him to go fight Plant, and for him to go fight this other guy, his easy road to undisputed and stuff like
yeah.
that. But it is what it is.
Right.
Um, I say, yeah, we should be happy for Canelo for him winning and for him uh going towards for undisputed, but we should want more out of him. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? As fight fans, we want to see him with the fighters that we want to see him to fight. And people are going to be up in arms about that shit because, they'll be like, well, why are you trying to get in the way of undisputed? Well, we're just trying to see him fight the people
Yeah.
that we paying consumers. If you
Yeah.
want us to pay for the fucking fight, give us what you want us
We
to
want to pay.
see.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day, you got a good point, man. Because at the end of the day, us fight fans are the reason why these fighters are getting paid and the lifestyles that they live. We feed them our hard-earned dollars for them to be wealthy as they
Well,
are.
well, check this out though.
Yeah.
Like, look at YouTube as a whole, right?
Yeah.
YouTube as a whole, like how big it is when it comes to the sport of boxing,
Yeah.
right? It's very big. It's very big. There's millions of views on the sport of boxing on YouTube daily,
Yeah.
more than ESPN
Yeah.
daily when it comes to the sport of boxing, right?
Right.
Worldwide, right?
Right.
And people don't give people on YouTube the shout of doubt when it comes to holding down the sport of boxing. But then but then, if we weren't around, people wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you wasn't, because you got to understand, the people that you reach ain't the same people that ESPN and all these guys reach.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good point, man. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, even though I hate to, I have to say this, even though after the COVID restrictions, we actually had some. This has actually been a pretty good year going back to late 2020 for boxing after post COVID in a way. So we're seeing some pretty interesting good fights. There's undisputed championship fights happening. With Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano. That fight's happening. Can't wait for that one. Then you got Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez in the next couple weeks. And Josh Taylor better win that fight because the UK fighters are getting beat up by these Mexican fighters for over the last year now. And this is not a good look. I mean, man, they're getting brutalized by them, man. Last night was the curse continues. So if Josh Taylor can break that curse, all power to him because there's gonna be a lot of pressure on him to do that. So EJ's in the chat. What's up, EJ? Haplotype, what's happening? Mr. Dot Boxing today says that everyone's pain threshold is different. So Saunders' eyes spirit was broken last night. Canelo seemed to be breaking Saunders' body down as well. Saunders exerted tons of energy just surviving. Yeah, he did. He moved around a little. I mean, I would say he moved around too much, but he was using his legs a little bit, more often than usual. He wasn't trying to commit on his punches for the most part. He was just trying to, move around to tire Canelo from chasing him. Then he was going to be able to, try to set his shots up a little bit better, once Canelo was tiring down. So that's what I think that was what his plan was. And speaking of Tyson Fury, I think part of the reason why he was brought down there to in Billy Joe Saunders' corner because they were trying to use him to get to Canelo's head psychologically, and that didn't work. That's just one of the reasons. That's in my opinion.
I don't. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that Canelo's head because they knew that shit wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
I think they did. I think they really did it to try to boost both of their stocks in the United States, just in case Billy Joe Sanders happened to win. And that's what a lot of these UK fighters keep saying is to come out here and get fighted an American fighter or Hispanic fighter up over here to make claim. The same thing like Dillian White just said. But who's teaching them these guys these things? They're not teaching them that themselves. Some promoter or manager is telling them that's what they need to do.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the reason why I think that the reason why he's up over there because they're trying to boost his profile up over here.
Right.
Tyson Fury's contract with ESPN is almost up.
Yeah.
He only has one more fight, right?
I think he has 2 fights left on that contract.
He don't have too many more fights. Right. You know what I'm saying? He could go somewhere else. And it's like they trying to shop him around because he's not going back he's not trying to fight in the UK.
No, I think that market is, Eddie Hearns kind of pointed out to this. That market's kind of ran its course. Even if COVID restrictions are lifted, it doesn't seem like they're going to focus on that market. And at this point, they're going to focus more on the U.S. They see where the revenue is a lot more greater over here than it is over there.
Mayweather told him.
I think what it is they're trying to reinvigorate the American market. Yeah. If you don't mind me getting a little more nuanced with it. Because I mean we've talked to death about the decline of American boxing and the status of boxing in America, etc.
Right.
But so I mean I think like you say, I think you're kind of right in the sense of the UK is not going to get any bigger. Let's put it that way. Boxing's. Because right now they got the crown jewel on coming up. We think we all hope. Right, undisputed heavyweight title, and oh my God, if they get that, if they can get COVID restrictions lifted, right, in time to have that in the UK, we all know they sell out whatever the hell the stadium they want with that.
Right.
So, like you say, the market's they can't grow that market any further. It's
No, they can. They can.
You think so? You think so?
Oh yeah. Because remember, they pay-per-views used to be more than 25 pounds.
Right.
They dumbed it down, lower than 20 pounds, and then moved it back up to 25 pounds. You know what I'm saying? and that's the reason that. But this is my whole thing. Like, you know, if it was for Anthony Joshua, and because really to tell you the truth, I don't care for undisputed
All right.
this way. I don't care for undisputed this way, and
Okay.
undisputed is not going to bring fans to watch a fight.
Okay.
But as far as for the UK, two UK guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the UK for undisputed.
Yeah. History making, man.
The undisputed
It's gonna be the
heavyweight
biggest fight they ever
championship
had.
to us. Yeah.
Right. Right.
It's gonna
You
be,
know.
but the thing about it is they're trying to put it somewhere else.
Yeah,
But they
because
have
of
mayor,
the
they got a mayor and multiple states up over there
Right.
that's already said that they willing to work it out to
To
make
bid
it
for
that
it.
big of a
Yeah.
fight.
Right. Right, but Hearn has said, yeah, that's great. They're willing to bid for it, but we don't see the earning potentials there in the UK. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what he said. Even if we pick, we know we're going to sell out the tickets. But I think what Hearn's concern is the reason why he's not focused on the UK. Now remember, about 3 years ago, Hearn used to get away with ticket scalping. That's how he made most of his profits on fights by doubling the prices of tickets and sell them on a secondary market. Now that got banned 3 years ago, he couldn't do that anymore. So that's why he's over here in the States. He can get away with that. So
well,
but yeah, I don't think you'd have to do that with this particular fight, though, Dan. I mean,
yeah,
come on,
yeah,
that will
will.
legit sell. That would no way. Fury Joshua hypothetically.
Fight doctor is right. He shouldn't have to do it with this fight. You are
Mr.
correct.
Doc? You mean Mr. Doc? Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Doc.
He's
Mr.
close.
Doc.
Fair,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. Fair
Mr. Doc.
mistake. No problem.
Yeah.
Mr.
But
Doc, you is right. He shouldn't have to do it with this fight
Right.
because Mayweather told him the other day, like he getting like, $50 million just off the tickets,
Yeah.
and they're only getting $20 million.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well,
Like I know there's 70,000 people in the stadium and stuff like that, but come on, man. Everybody, if you got 70,000 people in the stadium, can everybody see that fight? I don't know how many people have been in the football stadium and look down in the nosebleeds at the very top and see how it looks.
yeah.
Imagine a boxing match. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's smaller.
Yeah.
A football, baseball game, it's a lot broader, but a boxing match, it's a lot smaller. Like you want to see the punches and shit. You don't want to be at a nosebleed using binoculars to see the fight.
That's a good point.
Okay, but the argument, I guess, would be going back to what we were just saying a second ago. In this particular case, I think you'll have at least a few people that are like, you know what, they'll pay for those nosebleed sections just to be able to say they were there.
Yeah. Hey, but real quickly though, shout out to Raider in the chat. Mr. Boxing today, he said that Saunders' son punched William Monroe. Yeah, I remember that. That was I don't know, man. That was kind of either on call for or stage. But hey, what's up, Ahmed? Yo,
oh
Ahmed.
God! Oh, Ahmed snuck in here. What's up, Ahmed?
Yeah, he snuck in here. Hey, Ahmed, what's up? Can't hear you, man. I know he's trying to talk, but I can't hear him. All right, hold on. Let me Ahmed, let me remove you real quickly. I'm gonna put you back in. Let me see if that may do anything to the mic. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna add him back in. Ahmed, can you say something? Yeah, take your headset off, man. I think that's the problem.
I think Ahmed fell asleep on us.
Yeah, yeah, but hey, Mr. Boxer today said, hey, look, we need a undisputed heavyweight, bro. It's been damn nearly 21 years. I could care less if it's in Saudi, Vegas, Mars, Miami. But you know what? Let's just say this though. We gotta add this in though, because Tyson Fury didn't even accompany Billy Joe Saunders to the hospital. He just went over to Florida, Miami, and party with Adrian Broner. I don't know what that's about. Right after his friend lost, so that I mean, I don't know why he did that. But,
because his buddy quit. He don't want me anywhere near him.
Yo. Hey, Mr. Boxing is my homie, man. I love that dude, man.
Yeah, Mr. Boxing today, man. That's the king of the heavyweights.
What's up with Ashley Cabiel fighting The kingpin.
Yeah, Kevin Johnson. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, what's up? Hey, well, shout out to Blood in the chat.
Blood. You
But
got blood up in here. Now, hey,
yeah,
real quick, what my man, it's Michael, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What my man Michael
Yeah.
just mentioned there. That Agent Caballero, low key, he's not bad, dude. That guy's not bad.
I think that'd be a good fight for him because it seems like people be sleeping on the kingpin. Like I don't know if it was whether or not he he's really committed to boxing or whatever, but his
yeah.
like boxing skills been holding him on because he's been going the distance with a couple of these guys, man.
Oh, yeah, he's like
Yeah.
the king of the gatekeepers.
Well, Kevin Johnson is a very difficult guy to knock out. I think Anthony Joshua, credit to Anthony Joshua, he's the only guy to stop him. So I believe I could be wrong.
I think you're right, Dan. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
I
Or
could be wrong.
definitely the only guy in recent memory.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. But anyway, speaking of that Tyson Fury and the undisputed fight, now Eddie Hearn was asked about this by Rob Tibbett. I don't know, I'm not sure if it was Rob Tibbett, but it was one of his associates, correspondents from Boxing Social. They asked Eddie Hearn about the announcement of Fury and Joshua. Some people speculated it was going to be announced last night, and I had a feeling that was not going to be the case because why would Canelo even agree to something like that? And that was his event, you know. So I couldn't see that happening. So that didn't happen. So Eddie Hearn was asked about it, and he was like, "Well, we will update. I will give you an update, and I'll." And then the correspondent asked him, "Is it 100% done?" He said, "100%. You get an announcement next week." I'm like, "Well, okay. We've heard that 6 months ago." So
All I'm gonna say, Dan, is this.
yeah,
And I want to make sure my words, I'm carefully choosing my words here.
yeah.
If for some reason this fight doesn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
whatever person or persons are perceived, and I want to emphasize that word, whoever is perceived as the cause of this fight falling through is going to get historically buried.
Absolutely.
It won't even necessarily be fair. That's why I said perceived.
Yeah,
Whoever the fans perceive as if this doesn't happen, heaven forbid. Because I want it to. I agree with Mr. Boxing today. I think boxing needs an undisputed heavyweight championship. I mean that's real quick. Let me explain why. My logic. You don't have to agree, but let me explain my logic. To me, number one, it's like two ways of putting it. As the heavyweight division goes, so goes the rest of the sport in general. And that old saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. When the heavyweight tide rises, it lifts all the other divisions up.
It does, because if you think about it, back then when we had all those great heavyweight fights, it kind of forced the lower divisions to competing with each other, so that way they can have a chance of the spotlight. Back then,
And those guys got more attention because more casuals will pay attention to heavyweight.
Well,
You're right.
Well,
Go ahead.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares in this day of age unless you could boost these fighters by way of social media. Nobody really cares because a lot of these people that's supposed to been pushing boxing, right? They haven't been doing it. And they so far removed, they don't even know what's going on. Like that's the reason why Max Kellerman's on Twitter asking people about what's the next big thing on Twitter. What you got for boxing? You know what I'm saying? And now this is what you're getting right now. And that's the reason why I tell all the people all the time, like I really don't care too much about Undisputed too much because too many of these managers and these matchmakers has been fugazi and shit for so long and not allowing these other guys beneath them to fight for things that's been fucking the game up. Right. That's the reason why you keep getting Dillian White and all these cats keep fighting for championships and all these little triggers coming back up.
Yeah, it's a confusing mess. I'm sure all of us have had this experience, the experience of trying to explain boxing to one of your casual sports fan friends, and their eyes just glaze right over when you start breaking down, you know what I mean, the 4 fucking belts in each division, and then you got your regular champion, And why? And then they ask,
The
oh,
gold
David, how come,
champion, the
how come
diamond
the
belt.
four? Yeah, how
Yeah,
come the four lightweight
They walk
champions
out with
aren't
a
fighting it?
headache.
Exactly. They
yeah.
just tune right
Hey,
out. They
hey,
tune
real
right out.
quickly, guys. Real quickly. Shout out to Mike at Bound for Pound Boxing Report for Three Kings Boxing. What's up, Mike?
Hey,
Oh yes, yes.
ask how many can you even hear him though first?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Mike. Can you say Mike? Ahmed? Mike?
What's going on, everyone? What's going on?
What's up? What's up, man? What's up? I still can't hear Ahmed, man. Someone's Ahmed. I don't know
Can
what's
you hear me
going on
now?
with your mic. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you
right
now.
there.
There
Yeah.
you go.
There he is. There he is.
All right. Yeah.
There you go.
How's
Yeah,
it
let
going?
me start with
How's
Mike
it going?
first, and then good man, good man. Let me start with Mike first, and then Hamed, you could jump in. Say, hey, what's up, Mike?
What's going on, brother? What's going on?
Not much, man. So yeah, we're just talking about Billy Joe Saunders and the Canelo fight, and we have Mr. Boxer today just said that the Fury's treating Saunders like Don King treated his fall champions. You know what? I respect. Yeah, you kind of like how
That's
Don
fucked
King
up.
treated. Yeah, kind of
Oh
like
my
how.
God,
Yeah,
that's true.
that
You know
what?
what? That's fucked. You know what? You know what's fucked up about that is
Yeah,
Mr. Boxes today don't talk shit about nobody.
That was
That's
a
fucked up.
oh, Mr. Boxing today with the RKO out of nowhere.
He
well,
don't
you
talk
know
shit
what's
about
funny though?
nobody.
Because, yeah, you know what's funny though? Because Don King, when he did to Gerald McClellan when he fought Nigel Benn, now that was fucked up. He knew the man was seriously hurt, didn't even care about him. That
Walked, oh yeah, yeah. He's laughing. He's sitting in the ring while they're hauling McClellan out. Practically, you can go back and watch the fucking
yeah,
footage.
they had to
And
carry him to a stretcher.
Don King is laughing. Is Don King belly laughing, going and saying to Nigel Benn, "I'm a believer now, man. I'm a believer now."
Yeah, and Freddie Pacheco, I remember that too. That was many years ago. Freddie
Wow.
Pacheco even
That's
asked
a
Don
screenshot of
King.
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Freddie Pacheco even asked Don King and said, "Hey, shouldn't you be checking on your fighter? What are you doing here? Are you concerned
Yeah.
about your? I mean,
Don King's probably thinking to himself, Nigel Benn's my fighter. What are you talking about?
That motherfucker made a lot of money that night. He didn't give a fuck.
yeah,
He
he
bet
did.
against that motherfucker.
Yeah, but I didn't forgive Don King for the way he behaved after that fight. I did not forgive him. But hey, Mike, I know you want a Mike from Bound for Pound King Three Kings boxing. You want to go ahead and say something about this? About the
About
Canelo Saunders,
um,
how that played out?
you
Hold up,
knew
hold up. Before you
before.
begin, you the guy with the website, right? Three Kings. That's you.
I'm a part of it. I'm a
Oh,
writer
that's
for
what's
Three
up,
Kings.
man. I appreciate y'all though, man. I appreciate
No,
y'all.
no problem, man. No problem. I'll let the fellas know when we have our meeting Wednesday. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you know it.
Um, you knew beforehand that uh, Billy Joe had little to no shot. Uh, no matter really how well he fought, and he
Right,
fought well that night. Uh, my problem with the quitting is that, and people want to say, well, it's an orbital bone, orbital bone. Fair enough, but the moment he didn't give him time, he didn't give himself time to really see if he could continue because he got hit with that punch in the eighth round, and
right,
the eyes started to blow up. He, you could see the distress on his face. He goes to his corner. Tibbs says something to him. Where was the response?
right,
Where was the response? He was high off adrenaline, right?
right,
So I'm sure there was pain, but it wasn't to. I know this sounds callous and whatnot, but he's hurting more now, his face, than it was during that moment, right?
right, right.
That's number one. Number two, there's been too many instances in the sport where fighters, men and women, have fought with broken face, be it eye socket, be it jaw, be it nose. They've got some kind of fracture, some kind of broken bone, et cetera, and anything between that, right? And they've carried on. Uh, I put on Twitter after the fight on my personal Twitter page that Naoya Inoue suffered a similar injury second, third round of his fight with Donaire.
Yep,
He carried on.
9 rounds.
Kosei Tanaka at flyweight,
Yep,
two broken orbital bones in the same fight. He carried on. There've been other fighters of women's fighters. I can't remember her name right now. Fought with broken jaws, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day for older boxing fans,
Christy Martin.
Arthur Abraham.
Yeah, Arthur Abraham.
Um,
Yeah, there's Miranda. Yeah, I remember that fight. That was
right.
bad.
His
Man,
jaw was basically hanging from his face
I
from
know that was.
early on.
Yeah, man, he
He carried
survived and
on.
won that fight. Yeah, that was surprising.
So he didn't do himself any service, right? And you can tell by the scorecards that he was basically going to lose no matter what.
Right.
My thing is you continue fighting, period. Because Canelo wasn't hitting him with that much consistency up to that point.
Right.
You have to if folks in the know have an understanding, given Canelo's history of benefiting from the judges' scorecards, there was a high probability he was going to win this fight regardless.
Right.
If you're Billy Joe and you know that beforehand, you continue on, not basically because you think you could get a decision. You continue on to give the impression to other folks like ourselves, right?
Right.
To make the argument for you. So say he would have went the distance and it would have went Canelo's way, and he would perform well, it would went Canelo's way. He would have people, not necessarily Canelo fans and whatnot, but others saying, okay, he carried on, he fought with an orbital bone, broken orbital bone, and he performed very well. He would have looked good in the end. Now he doesn't. He quit, and this is against the backdrop of him criticizing and chastising other fighters who dropped out,
Yeah.
like Dubois, like Kell Brook, who, by the way, continued to fight after their injury. Billy
Yeah.
Joe
Exactly.
didn't. So this is all bad for him. This is all bad for him. You know, he there's no bounce back as far as I'm concerned.
I
None.
agree. I don't think his career is the same. Well, obviously, we can all agree his career won't be the same. I don't think he could come back from this. I mean, if he does come back, he'll probably take a 1 or 2 fights on the domestic level,
Well,
Britain, and
well,
that'd be it.
well, but that's the thing is like his career can bounce back because I'm gonna tell you this one thing. It's because you know I seriously believe that out there in the UK um that the way they be sparring and stuff like that is
Yeah.
not is like if you hit this motherfucker, you're done. Like
Right.
you got to go find another job somewhere. If you hit this motherfucker too hard, you give him too much work, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
find a job somewhere else.
Right.
And it showed because these guys don't know how to deal with adversity. It's not
Yeah.
all of them, it's just some of them. It's like
Right.
every time some of these guys come up here and they get hit upside the head too many times, they wanna allow somebody else to either make decisions for them or find a way to not make it look like they quit. You know what I'm saying? Anthony
Right.
Joshua knew now well to get out of that fucking corner, put his hands up, and walk towards the ref.
Yeah.
He knew.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. Everybody knows. People that only watch 2 boxing matches know to put your hands up, walk towards the ref. He chose not to do that shit
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it
that
was
was a
that
signs of
time.
distress. Yeah, I agree with that. That was signs of distress right there because he walked back to his corner after that fourth knockdown by Ruiz. He was looking at his corner like he wanted him to throw in the towel. I mean, that's what that looked like the sign of him giving up. I mean, yeah, he probably said in his mind that he didn't want to give up, but his body told him you can't take no more punishment. He kind of gave up on
But
that
here's
fight.
the problem. Here's the
Yeah,
problem with that analogy. Joshua got hurt and knocked down round 4,
right.
4, 5, 6, 7. He went through for those extra rounds. So even if to many people felt he quit at that moment, he was getting hurt and battered for 2, 3 rounds prior.
That's
With
true.
Saunders, that
Yeah,
was his
yeah.
first sign of distress. That's the
Can I
difference.
can
Yeah,
I
go ahead, Ahmed.
interject? All
Yeah,
right,
go ahead.
yeah, that's exactly
That
what
wasn't
I
his
was.
first sign of distress. He got distressed the 2 fights, the last 2 fights.
I'm not
Yeah,
talking about the last 2 fights. I'm
Oh, I'm
talking
sorry.
about
I'm
this
sorry.
fight in
I'm sorry.
particular.
yeah,
This fight
I'm
in
sorry.
particular.
yeah.
No,
Go.
but he had to stretch the whole fight because I'm gonna tell you this is one thing. Them
Yeah,
them liver shots that he was getting the whole night, the body shots he was giving the whole night. Watch them. Go back and
But he
watch
kept
the tape and watch them body shots. When Canelo was giving him that left hand body shot the whole night, he was not liking that shit. That's the reason
Yeah,
why he started hunching over.
he
yeah.
wasn't liking it, but he kept fighting on.
Yeah.
After
No,
that
That's
punch and he
but
went to the corner,
but
he was done.
but
He was
guess what he
done.
did? He hunched over. He hunched over, right? He kept hunching over. And that's when he got his shit fucked up.
Well, yeah, because
And
what
Canelo,
he
I
was
don't even
trying
think
to,
Canelo actually hit him with the glove.
yeah.
I think Canelo hit him with his forearm by accident.
I don't know about that, but I will say this
nah.
though. But yeah, go ahead. Hamed, before you say something, I want to say something. The reason why he was hunching over because he was anticipating, he was trying to block those body shots. That's what he was trying to do. And Canelo
That's what
saw
I'm
that.
trying to say.
Yeah, Canelo saw that he was trying to block the body shot, so he faded and then came back with the uppercut and caught him in that round. But go ahead, Hamed.
All right, I want to say this. The guy, I think, is Michael. What he said, I exactly said the same thing last time when I was watching the fight. And yeah, there was maybe a bit of bias on a lot of people who don't like Saunders, including myself. But watching that objectively, the guy, any first sort of adversity he fought, whatever he faced in that fight, the guy gave in. Now, people are going to say he didn't essentially quit. And if you want to play devil's advocate, you could say the same for Joshua against Ruiz, but the corner's in there to help the guy out, same as the referee. And
Right.
I think there is a bit of difference. I agree. Joshua took a beating for 4 rounds. He got up about 4 times, but the guy, he didn't know where he was or whatever. His head, his body couldn't keep up with his mind. Like, he mentally checked out, and even though his body was in condition to get up 4 times, Joshua gave up because he had the fight beaten out, and he
Yeah.
spat his gum shield out. He turned his back. I mean, we all know the guy gave up in the end. Mentally, the guy gave up. But with this, uh, Saunders, I thought maybe won a couple of rounds, but after 8 rounds, that was the first, I think, big shot he took where he was hurt. And there was a dramatic effect. The guy's eye was almost closed, but the guy, he panicked straight away. Like, the cornerman, his trainer, Jimmy Tibbs, asked him, "Could you carry on?" And he said he can't see. And there wasn't any even protest like from him. Like,
Right.
if you look at Vitaly Klitschko against Lennox Lewis, and I know that injury was more severe, and then you look at guys like Nonito Donaire and Inouye, that fight when Inouye has his eye socket broken,
Yeah.
those guys, like, they carried on. Like, look, if you want to give up, you could give up, but this the same guy who was saying, if I got 2 broken eye sockets, I'll carry on. So, I mean, you don't make bold statements like that. Then you ask for a big ring and then you give up. Like, I think personally, the guy
Yeah.
quit. He quit, I think.
Yeah, he quit.
Oh,
There's no question about it.
and it looks horrible. He did like somebody I think a few of you have alluded to. He didn't push for 1 second through that adversity. He just immediately
Yeah,
capitulated
exactly.
to it.
Well,
He
it's funny
immediately
though.
capitulated.
Yeah, it's funny though because Carl Froch was sitting there at the commentary table over the zone. He was like, he was shocked. He was like, he could have gave it another round. I don't know why he decided to check out after he faced adversity for the first.
Now I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. I'll give you guys an example of an orbital bone quit that I'm not gonna give the guy. I don't give the guy any shit for, but I want to hear your opinions. And Gulo, when Lara broke
Yeah,
his face,
I
and he
knew you were gonna bring
immediately
that up.
turned away.
Yeah,
But I mean, that was, I mean, come on, his face like doubled its size instantly. That was way worse than what Billy Joe went through. Is my point. I think.
Oh, of course.
yeah,
Can,
yeah,
That
of
was
course.
can I
horrible.
just say?
But
Yeah,
go
Can I
ahead.
just
Go
say?
ahead.
I
Yeah,
just want to say this. If a guy wants to quit and he's taken severe punishment and he doesn't want to carry on, I got no problem. Look, when Cal Brook quit against Errol Spence in the fight at welterweight after
right.
he came back down from middleweight, I had no problem with that because I thought the fight was beaten out of him, and the guy, he went down a couple of times and he wasn't going to win that fight. Let's be real. This is the 11th round, and the guy was beaten up. Some guys I've seen, like Margarito, carry on. I personally don't like it when some guys go over the top. That's where you need a good trainer and a cornerman to help the fighter
Save them
from,
from themselves. Yeah.
save
Save
them
them.
from themselves. But I will say with Angulo, some people were a bit critical because he dropped Lara twice. But at the same time, I mean, if he feels like he can't carry on, then It's his face and his life and his eyes. Like, I'm not in his position. If you want to live a healthy life after you retired and you want your faculties intact, then you can't blame him. But the thing with this is Saunders barely faced any adversity. That was like one round, and
Right.
throughout his career, I've never seen the guy get hurt or dropped or seriously injured. So, to me, that wasn't a good sign. And this is a world champion who was criticizing Dubois, who's basically a novice who fought like 5 rounds with one eye. So, I mean, I don't think it's a good look.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Mr. Boxer today brought up Nagy Aguilera last night. Oh my God, dude, that was one of the worst acting I've ever seen. This guy literally was trying to get Frank Sanchez disqualified. That was his whole intention. Because when he got up, he seemed fine. He was bitching and complaining. He didn't act like he was hurt after the referee decided not to disqualify Sanchez, kind of like Hopkins did with the first Chad Dawson fight. So, yeah, not yeah, Lar didn't do stuff any favors. I'm not sure if anybody's going to put him in another fight again after that bullshit, but it is what it is. But let's talk about the aftermath. Jaime, you can chime in, and Mike from Three Kings Boxing, you can chime in as well. All you guys can. So I'm gonna go down the line on this one, as I like to call. I'm gonna start with Hamed. Does Billy Joe Saunders have a career after this? Do you think he can come back, Hamed?
Nah, I think he's finished. I personally think I did give him a chance, but I personally think his best chance was at middleweight after he beat Lemieux. If he went and fought
Right.
Canelo that time, if he fought Canelo or Golovkin, I know Golovkin and his team had other ideas. I know he agreed to fight Golovkin twice, once in Kazakhstan. But if he stayed active after the Lemieux fight and he didn't mess up with Andrade with the whole laser spray or whatever, whoever's fault that was, say if that didn't
Yeah.
happen and he got that win over Andrade at middleweight, and say he fought Canelo in 2018 or 19 at middleweight, he may have had a better chance, or say Golovkin, whatever, of
Yeah.
maybe doing better or maybe even going the distance with those guys. Right now, I
Yeah.
just think Canelo's in his prime. And at super middleweight, we look at the guys Billy Joe Saunders has fought. He fought Sefot Safuri, whatever his name is. And then he fought 2 guys. One was on the YouTuber undercard, and he fought a guy, Mate
Yeah.
Murray. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
look at that. Like, activity matters. Whilst Canelo's fought Jacobs, um, Callum Smith, Kovalev. That's why I just couldn't see him pulling it off. But I think Billy Joe is done. I think he'd probably have to drop back down to middleweight. At super middle, I can't see him doing anything.
Yeah, yeah. I real quickly before I get over to Mike over at Three Kings Boxing, Lisa Bell said something about Billy Joe Saunders' father got attacked last night by security. Yeah, I saw that footage. But
That
you
was
know
bad.
what? They didn't know that was his father. They were just doing their jobs to keep the bystanders from trying to swarm the ring. That's their
Don't
job.
you think it's
So
over the top though? Like,
No,
it was
no,
a
he,
little over
can I
top.
say something on that? Can I say something on that? Like, y'all
Yeah,
gotta understand, like,
yeah,
over here in the States, like, you don't, you guys gotta understand, like, people be bringing in knives,
yeah,
guns, all kind of shit, smoking weed, and these motherfuckers doing dope, all kind
yeah,
of shit in there. You don't put a big guy in there to be a pussy. You know what I'm saying? You seen that security guy, and
yeah.
if you actually pay attention to the tape, that's the reason why that security guy wasn't on the ground when everybody jumped on him. He was still on his feet because everybody slipped off him because they thought he was too small and too weak because they were small.
Right,
And when you have events like that, you got to have a guy like that. And when you resist a big guy like that, you can't expect him to be nice with you
right.
because you put the big guy in there in the position to intimidate people, to tell them, is like, hey, you try to do whatever the case. I did a lot of security, like
Right.
armed security or whatever the case may be, for people trying to help them out with their own businesses and stuff like that. You can't have pussies with you in these types of situations because people will just run over you.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a good point though. I also would like to point out that they probably don't want to see another Riddick Bowe and Andrew Galata moment because we saw what happened back in '96, how that turned out. So after that whole ride took place in that fight, yeah, security's been extra tight. They're very cautious about who gets in the ring, who doesn't get in the ring. So
No, hey, hey.
that's
Speaking of the Riddick Bowe riots, don't forget Bowe and Tillery.
oh yeah, Elijah Tillery. Oh yeah, before that one, yeah, that was funny. But yeah, obviously Galata was a lot worse though. But yeah, I agree with Doc. But yeah, let me keep going down the line here, Mike. For from Three Kings Boxing, do you think Billy Joe Saunders could come back? Do you think his career is done at this point?
Um, Going to be extremely tough for him to come back. I say he can't. Here's the problem: Saunders has had a history of being inconsistent in the ring
Right.
and erratic in terms of his behavior outside of the ring. And is not the most popular guy, at least from my discussions with folks from the UK in this space, right?
Yeah.
He gets this career high, he gets this career opportunity, and he essentially his corner, whoever, basically pulls a no mas. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a title to fall back on. He has no real cachet, no real fandom on his side, right?
Right.
It's going to be really, really tough for him to come back. I say he cannot.
Okay. Fair enough. Mike Johnson, what do you think? Do you think Billy Joe Saunders could come back from this?
Yeah, yeah, I think he can, and I think he needs to learn a few things that if you're going to be somebody that's known for being good on their feet, man, but against who, you
Right.
know, is another thing. But if you're going to be a Roy Jones, you got to have some power. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got to have somebody to respect you for something, especially in these lower weight classes. People got to respect you for something. You got to give them power. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Canelo felt nothing to respect Billy Joe from in this fight. Also, with that is that you know Billy needs to understand that when to get in out of he needs to understand that when these lower weight classes, even these higher, it doesn't matter what weight class you in. The best form of defense is not putting your gloves up. Is not is not just standing there, not hunching over. It's
Right.
getting out of distance.
Right.
You can't just move on your feet when whatever, but you have to do it strategically. And that's one
Right.
thing that Canelo learned by fighting Mayweather. He learned how to step in and out of range. When
Right.
you watch the fight and all of his fights since then, he fucking sits there. He fights in and out. He
Yep.
comes in and out of range all the time, and people doesn't catch him in this. He doesn't. Canelo stop. He doesn't even aim. Canelo is not aiming.
Right.
He's not aiming. He's timing. That's the
Right.
only thing he's doing right now is just timing these guys. And
Right.
that's the sickening part about it is because when you see all them left hooks that he was missing in that fight because he was timing them.
Right.
He was just
Yeah.
hoping that he would just show his chin and he didn't. He was just hoping that he dipped down to catch him with an uppercut. He was just hoping he was just timing him. People
Yeah.
need to understand is that boxing is all about timing. It's not
Yeah.
about aiming. It's not about punching for where this guy's is all about timing. That's
Right.
and that's
Yeah,
the only thing you got to do.
yeah,
Right.
Dan.
Yeah.
I
What's up,
just
bud?
want to say one thing. I did post on Ring IQ's channel that Saunders outside first 2 or 3 rounds offered little resistance. And someone said that was the most interesting opponent Canelo's fought since Golovkin. Now, I wouldn't go that far. I get what he's saying. If that went over 12 rounds, I could see because I know a lot of people had it even. I just strongly disagree with that, but he had the style where it was very he couldn't make that fight sort of subjective. Where I thought Canelo clearly won the first 4 rounds, won whatever majority of the first 4 rounds because Saunders was just running and slapping. But
Yeah.
when Saunders start uh, trying to back up Canelo, and I don't know if Canelo took a couple of the one of those rounds off, but I thought Saunders had some success. It's just when the fight got interesting, he got hit by a big uppercut and the
Right.
fight was over. But I will say one thing: he had the style that I thought could offset Canelo more than the last couple of opponents. Because I thought Callum Smith was just a big stiff was a heavy bag in there, and Yildirim didn't offer much. And Kovalev, I thought, was past his best. Although the only thing I thought Kovalev had in there was size. That's why that fight was competitive. But Danny Jacobs, maybe you could argue, but I thought Danny Jacobs kind of went into survival mode. Although, obviously, in the end, Danny Jacobs did well because that was a competitive fight over 12 rounds.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think he won more than about 4 rounds, but I just thought style-wise, Saunders had the foot speed or whatever to give him actually trouble over 12 rounds. It's just the guy was way too inactive.
You can't say that though, because that's like
But he
saying
did.
that. But that's like saying that Leo Sanders Snoot was winning the rounds against Tank Davis before he got knocked out. It's like
That's what I'm saying.
you got to bring ass to get ass. Like boxing doesn't work
No,
like
that's what I was
that.
getting
Like
at. That's what I was
Canelo
getting
knew
at.
who he was working with.
No,
Canelo
but
knew who he was working with. The
first
ultimate
4
way.
rounds.
I'm not trying to argue with you, but I'm just trying to tell you the ultimate way to win a boxing match is to knock a dude
I
out
agree.
or to make him quit on the stool. It doesn't matter
No,
how many. It doesn't matter how many rounds you win or whatever the case may be, because if we keep repeating this stuff, it probably end the same way. And
no,
that's what
I
we
don't
need to
disagree. I don't
understand.
disagree.
And that's
What
what
I'm
we
trying
need
to
to
say,
understand. Because we can't keep saying to these fighters that they was winning rounds, blah, 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 whoop, whoop, whoop. We got to keep it for what it was, because we do it every now and again for other fighters, but we got to stop doing that stuff.
no, I
They
don't
like
disagree. I don't disagree. I thought Canelo it started well and did well. But what I'm trying to say, the guy for the first 4 rounds, Saunders did nothing. Now I don't know if that's down to inactivity or if that's down to a bit of
no,
both. Canelo,
Sanders was he was landing. His jab was okay. His jab was
nah,
okay.
in the
He was
first
landing
4 rounds,
jab shots.
I don't think he did much
Well, if
enough.
you go back and look, he was landing jabs. You can't just throw jabs with certain fighters and not expect counter punches coming back. But he
But
was
he was
landing
running a
jabs.
lot. He was like what I'm
You
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you, you have to you can't just throw jabs at will. You know what I'm saying, with fighters like this. You got to throw them when it's right. He was landing. Billy was landing shots
he was
he
missing a
was
lot as well in those
and
he was
first
jabs.
four
missing a lot
rounds.
of
I
Well,
shots
gotta say.
too.
Canelo
Yeah,
was missing stuff too. The whole
No,
thing
no, in the
about it is
first four
who
rounds.
got the
One
best of who at the
No,
end of it. That's all it is.
in the first 4 rounds, I thought Canelo was very impressive. I think there's maybe one round that you could argue is competitive, but what I'm trying to
Well,
see now, this may be down to the guys Saunders has been fighting and the fact that he's been inactive and a lot of stuff like that. And at the same time, Canelo obviously is in his prime and one of the best, if not the best, pound for pound fighter right now. But what I'm trying to say, the guy in the first 4 rounds was just very bad. Like the guy was his game plan was wrong. Look, what I'm saying, when you bitching and moaning about big ring and all this and that, and then you come in and do that for the first 4 rounds, like your game plan is wrong. Like
yeah.
asking for a big ring and doing that is just not how you're gonna win a fight. I
no,
agree in the
I'm
end.
not arguing with you. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, I
arguing
know.
with
I'm
you.
just saying.
I'm just saying that he tried.
I agree. I agree. No, I'm saying in
He
the end, it don't
tried.
matter. It don't matter how many rounds he
Yeah,
won
yeah,
because in
and,
the end,
yeah.
it was a 12 round fight.
We're picking nits here. Thomas Hearns on everybody's card was beating Sugar Ray Leonard, but at the end of the day, what does it say on the
Yeah,
scoreboard?
that's a good point.
Stop
That's a
it!
good point.
Stop it!
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right.
a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, but yeah, I mean Saunders, me personally, if you ask me though, he he, I, to me, I think his career is done at this point because as Mike from Three Kings says though, he doesn't have anything to fall back on. He has no leverage.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
y'all.
could.
No offense, y'all talking all this technical stuff with this fine and dandy. The ultimate question is in response to Dan's question when he says, "Can Sanders come back?" You can do all those technical improvements all you want. We're talking money here. We're talking professional boxing. Can Saunders get himself back into position to where he can land himself a big fight? How
That's
is
a
he
good point.
going to do that when he's not the most popular guy in the world? He
Here's
doesn't
what.
bring the most
Well,
competition style in the
how did he
world,
get it right
and he
now?
doesn't have a title. He
How did he
doesn't
get it
have a
right
title.
now? He,
Let me
he
real
Hold on,
quick.
what
Let me
I
let
guys?
me give my assessment because
all right,
I'm
all
last
right.
here in line.
Yeah, go ahead, Bashar.
My assessment of Billy Joe Saunders' career from here on out is this: if he's lucky, Ahmed already knows I'm not going to be nice. If he's lucky, he has one more fight and gets retired the same way James DeGale got retired by Chris Eubank Jr., or that's the last we've seen of him.
Right. He's not even a popular dude in the UK.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
have a
To your
belt
that
now.
was kind of to your point, Michael, from Pound for Pound, is the only fight that is realistically attainable for him that he's going to make any kind of money would be a Eubank Jr. rematch,
Right.
and I think he gets beat up at this point.
Well, Mike, and Mr. Doc, like, check it. Billy Joe already said he's like not a fighter, like blah blah woo woo woo, right? My whole thing is that I think that you know, people aren't looking for him to have a fight over there in the UK and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Here, man.
I don't think his career is done. I'm telling you, he needs to learn from this shit. Just like a lot of other fighters out here need to learn. They need to learn from this shit because you have to know how to time your opponent. And in this day and age of boxing, it's all about timing. It's not about just hitting what you see. It's not hitting what you see. It's all about timing. And that's what Canelo showed in this fight. He didn't do nothing. Canelo did not do nothing spectacular in this fight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I want to say this
nothing
too.
spectacular. He just
You know,
timed it.
Yeah. Again, still remains. He can learn all that, but if he can't get the big fight,
I'm not saying all
or
that.
any kind of significant fight, that matters in terms of question.
No matter, because the question is, what is he going to do? He's still going to get
the matter
fights.
is, can he come back? Not what he's going to do.
He's going to come back and get some fights. But the whole thing is what weight class is going to do with that?
Against who? Who's going to fight him? Hang on, who's
right?
Because Canelo got 168 on lock.
No, but Michael, who's gonna give him the time of day at this point? Other than Eubank Jr.
Okay. I give you who's going to give him the time of the day. I give you who's going to give him the time of the day. Anybody, right? Anybody that's lesser than Billy Joe Sanders at 168 is going to give Billy Joe Sanders the time of day. You see what I'm saying?
He doesn't have
no. Sorry, go ahead.
Because who the hell Andre gonna fight next?
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about
that's a good question. That's a whole other kettle. That's a whole other bag.
Hold on, guys.
Because we all say Caleb Plant's gonna fight Canelo next, but who can't? But is that for sure?
Well, we don't know that yet, but before we get
that's
to
for
that,
sure. Y'all kidding? That's the next fight. Everybody knows.
Nah, we can all say that all day.
Well, before we get into that one, but let me just say this: I gotta move on to one more topic, then I gotta wrap it up. So,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Sorry, just because I'm gonna jump off in a minute as well. I was just gonna say that we're all talking about Saunders, this and that, and I get it. But the thing is, does anyone think that the guy will have the same desire now that one of his eye socket has been broken? Because the thing I want to bring up is his stablemate Cal Brook had his eye socket broken, but he had also a welterweight to move back down to and defend that belt. But what does Saunders have to offer? Because look,
that's my point.
That's what I'm
gonna tell you how you get that back. Right, I'm 34 years old. I still play semi-pro football. I got a fucked up neck, and I got fucked up knees. The thing that's gonna get you right is that I don't know how many months. I don't know. Y'all know what a messed up neck do you with football, but you're always gonna have like a few days with a fucked up like numbness in your arm, right? But
pinch nerves. You pinch nerves.
No, it's pinch nerves, right? But I tell people all this time, if you really love the sport and you really like this, that, and the third, like you say you is, you're always willing to get better. That's what the thing about it is. It's not about being scared. The willingness to get better. That's the whole thing I've been trying to tell y'all about Billy Joe Sanders, about whether or not he can come back. I was not trying to say that would he can get better, would he can do this. I was just trying to give people analogies about how you can be better as far as learning from different boxers. That's the only thing that's gonna get you right. You're never gonna get no confidence back like that until you get better.
Okay, that's not my question about him though. Where I doubt him to the point of writing him off like I did earlier in my assessment of things is I don't think it's mental with him. He isn't going to want to go through the hardships. He's not going to want to, as Teddy Atlas says, live like a Viking. All right, in training camp, look how quickly he capitulated there. I think he's done. I think he might fight Chris Eubank Jr. if he can get that fight because Ahmed, people would still watch. There's still quite a few people over there that would watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, people still watch that fight. That's a crossover
So
fight.
I think he gets beat up and then he gets retired. Same as James
Yeah, I
Dean.
mean, there's a rematch that's pretty much long overdue. I mean, it could be a crossover fight at this point between those
But to
two.
Michael's point, that's the only option for him that I see right now.
Yeah, and then he could just call it a day for the loser because that injury is very difficult to come back from.
Y'all
So,
some assholes, y'all.
nah, we're telling the truth, man.
No,
But let me,
learn to get better. Learn to get better.
Like,
This dude is over 30. This dude is over 30.
He's got to learn to be mentally tougher. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
This dude is over 30, yo. And like I said to begin with, he has had a career of being inconsistent. Now you gonna think he's gonna do something now?
Yeah.
When he got $3 to $5 million to fight Canelo?
Oh yeah. Oh, there's another thing I didn't even think of. Michael is he's got the biggest chunk of money he's ever gotten his hands on in his life right now.
Yeah, he's got life changing. Life changing.
Now that he got the payday.
But like, look, that's that. I'm just giving people the benefit of the doubt, man.
Right.
That's fair.
He doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not trying to say
his career has shown himself to not deserve that benefit of the doubt.
Like
he's shown that through his actions even before the fight.
Pound for pound over here.
Hold on, Mr. Doc. Hold on, guys.
I'm not trying to tell another man as what his potential is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to do that to somebody. You know what I'm saying? To another man. I'm trying to say this is all you can amount to. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that you could be better, but you got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And I think he can figure it out, but will he? I don't know. Because
can I see
if you're gonna get up over there with Tibbs and them guys, I don't know what you can learn from them, but you already learned now.
Maya Angelou, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. He's shown us who he has been.
That's the point. I mean, this is, I think, what people are misunderstanding. I think the brother might be understanding. Is he going to fight again? Yeah, he will fight again. But what we're trying to say, to get back to that level, he's 31 or 30, and
30,
the guy has taken years off. Look, people talk about the guy that he hasn't had that many fights, but if you look at his career, how he projected after beating Eubank and Andy Lee and getting that belt, the guy disappeared for a couple of years. Then he comes back, beats David Lemieux, and then he does the same thing. He has the problem with the nasal spray, and he doesn't fight again until I think is the end of 2018 or was it beginning of 2019. He wins a belt at super middleweight, makes a couple of defenses. He gets this big fight. To me, I agree with Mr. Doc. He's going to have some sort of big fight with Chris Eubank Jr. They may have a tune-up in between. And after that, if he gets beaten up again and his other eye socket goes, I personally think he'll retire. I just can't see where he goes. Because look, at super middleweight, there's not many options. I don't think many people are calling for a rematch. And at middleweight, I mean, maybe he'll have to drop back down. But even then, like, with one guy on PBC, one guy on DAZN and all this, to me it depends. If he's still with Matchroom, he may be able to get a title shot down the line. I don't think that's going to happen, though. He doesn't bring anything to the table. I think what they'll do is they'll try and cash him out with either Eubank Jr. or another British fighter, I think.
Callum Smith,
and let's not forget. And let's not forget his like a huge lack of discipline between fights.
Yeah.
Didn't he fight all the way? Didn't he blow up all the way to cruiserweight one time?
Cruiserweight, yeah.
There you go, Doc. There you go,
186,
Doc.
I think 186 or something like that.
He was over 200 pounds.
190.
He was close to 200 pounds before that training camp for Akava.
Yes.
Shout out to D Style in the chat though. He said that hey, he's had surgery right now, so I think he's done because anyone hits him in there in that eye it's gonna break again. Yeah, I mean that's a good
Yeah.
point. So it's going to be very, very cautious for him going forward. But yeah, last topic, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Demetrius Andrade here. We saw. I'm not sure if all you guys seen what happened. He went in there and he crashed the post fight press conference. with Canelo. I already set my piece on what he did. Look, he's supposed to do that. I know many fighters do that great, but what I don't like is that people are trying to call out Canelo for being a coward for not fighting him. He needs to fight him, this, that, and the third. Yes, Canelo needs to fight Andrade, but where was the criticism when Andrade ducked out of a handful of fights?
Can I
Nobody
go
got on him for
first?
that. Yeah, go ahead, Ahmed. Go.
Dan, I agree with a lot of the things you're saying, but I posted this, and the thing I didn't like was the way Canelo handled the situation. Now, what I mean by that is the reason he gave why he doesn't want to fight him. Now, maybe down to English barrier or the language barrier or whatever, but
Yeah,
saying like your style is horrible when he fights guys like Lara, Bill Joe Saunders. Let's be real, their style
yeah, that's true. That
isn't
is,
any better. Then saying who have you fought when he's fought Rocky Fielding and who's the other guy, Yildirim. The thing I will agree with Andrade is the guy he's calling all these guys out, but he has turned down fights before, even recently with Derevchenko, and at the same time, Canelo can't fight everyone, man. Look,
yeah,
Charlo's called him out. This guy's called out. The thing is, he's trying to become undisputed at super middleweight, and I've heard guys like Bruce Wayne. I'm just going to call it out, and some other YouTube loaders saying that Canelo ducked undisputed at middleweight. But the difference was there is a big major difference. Canelo had the IBF, and I think he beat when he beat
it,
Golovkin. He had the two belts, but what happened was they made he beat Jacob. Sorry, they made Derevchenko the IBF mandatory,
mandatory. Yeah, yeah,
and this and Golden Boy went behind his back and done something. And that's why he split from Golden Boy. It's on evident. It's on record now, and he wasn't happy about that because he didn't want to lose the belt. And there is a difference because if you didn't have the IBF, you can't fight Andrade for three belts and call that undisputed. So I think what he did is he ended up fighting Kovalev at light heavyweight and
yeah.
collected a belt. So there is a difference.
Right. But yeah, like I said though, we all want to see the fight. But yeah, to your point though, yeah, Canelo could have handled that press conference situation with Andrade a little differently. But I just don't like the fact that people are trying to undermine what he did last night to Billy Joe Saunders. And the fact that it was his night, he had a great, very good win. And then
Yeah.
people are trying to force Andrade down his throat. I mean, look, he can't fight everybody. He can't, and I agree. He cannot fight everybody. The man's got probably, undoubtedly, the best resume, second to Manny Pacquiao in boxing right now. That's a fact.
Yep.
Look at the names he's
Yep.
fought and beat.
Yep.
No
Mm.
disputing that. There's no dispute on that.
I
So
can't see how you can have anyone pound for pound number one right now than Canelo, unless you
yeah,
have like a criteria where you don't rank guys who have tested positive. If you're just gonna judge everyone, I think Crawford and Anui they haven't done enough, and because
yeah,
Roman Gonzalez lost his last fight, I personally gotta say Canelo is number one. Pacquiao's been too inactive for me to rank him that high right now.
yeah,
So I agree with what you say.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. So Mike from Three Kings Box, he thoughts about Andrade and what he did last night.
First of all, I want to give him a little bit of apology. A thunderstorm is rolling through, so if you hear something in the background, that's maybe some rain and some thunder.
It's all good.
I agree with Hamed's uh, thought to a large degree. I didn't like the way Canelo responded to that, saying that you call him horrible, saying that you're never going to fight him. Um, no, that's not how you respond. He's never. First and foremost, you're not going to see the fight because let's face it, all roads lead to Canelo becoming undisputed super middleweight champion, and no one, Andrade or anybody else, is going to stop that mission, right?
Yeah,
So you want if the fight happens, it will be to 2022 at some point. Here's my thing. I'm not mad at Andrade and what he did because that's what fighters do. To your earlier point, um, when Roy Jones beat Ruiz for that heavyweight title, Antonio Tarver was in the post-fight news conference raising all kinds of holy hell, talking up wanting to fight with Roy Jones, and they had a back and forth during that. You've seen other situations as well, so
right.
that's just part of the game. My thing is this: Andrade, you can say he's avoided other fights and whatnot. So has Canelo.
Right.
For me, Andrade has been calling this dude out since they were at 154 pounds. And yet, Canelo first ignores him, and then when he finally says something about him face to face, he dismisses him and say he's not going to get the shot. I feel some kind of way about that. Whatever you want to say about Andrade and lack of resume and whatnot, I'm thinking, hell, his resume is not that far off from Billy Joe as far as I'm concerned, and Billy Joe got that payday. So um, I don't have a problem with Andrade did. That's what you should do. Uh, Canelo has been technically, we're going to be technical about it. Canelo has avoided this guy.
Right.
He hasn't talked the fight with this guy from
Right.
54 up until now. That has to be put into this measure, into this. That has to be put into account, and it has to be respected. Even if you don't think Andrade doesn't deserve the fight, he's been calling for him. Canelo
Right.
hasn't really mentioned him. Canelo hasn't dismissed him. And coming off of that last night, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I guess you could say they're both in the wrong there. How that went down. So I mean,
Yeah,
look.
ultimately, that's my thing. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. My
Yeah.
elongated thing. Both of me, both have accountability and responsibility. I don't like people just dismissing Andrade and sitting on him and whatnot. Was
Yeah.
like, okay, Canelo, you couple in this as well. You
Yeah.
have some fault as well, and
Yeah.
people ought
You
to
know,
own up to it.
right. I agree. Canelo has to fight the, but at the same time, don't trash Canelo to propagate Andrade. That's what you don't do. It's the same thing. Canelo shouldn't have done that either to Andrade. So I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah,
Man. All right.
Canelo. The thing.
And
Yeah,
lastly, let me say this, Dan. If we're going to talk about resumes and fighters, I understand what you're saying about Canelo, but if we're going to do that, throw Kazuto Ayoko into that equation too, because his resume, 05 at 105, 108, 112, and
112.
115, it's right up there.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, Michael Johnson. So, what do you think about Andrade's actions last night? Justifiable, or Canelo was
Yeah,
in the wrong?
I think it was, but I think he should have did it before after the fight. I think it should have did it before. I think he should did another press conference
Right.
because that press because really to tell you the truth, that press conference was just for the winners. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? It was just supposed to be some winner circle shit. And I think that Andrade should have did before that, but it was rightfully so because you don't see a lot of fighters doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? And they allowed him to ask his question. Like he wasn't a reporter in there, nothing like that. They gave him the mic and gave him the floor.
Mm.
And well, I don't think they gave him. I think he just outbursted. But needless to say, um, a lot of fighters ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you really think that you want to fight, you deserve to fight and stuff like that. Like, a lot of fighters ain't out there doing the work themselves and calling these guys out. I think the last guy to do it right was Shannon Briggs.
Yeah.
No, but Andrade's
You
done
Arizona
this
know,
Lar did it.
before.
Arizona
but that was with
Arizona.
Andrade's done
Briggs.
this before. Andrade
Yeah,
did
No,
this to
what
Charlo.
Shannon Briggs did was damn near extreme.
He did it to Charlo too. Let's not forget that he did
yes,
that
Yeah,
he
to
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
did.
Char.
trying to say. That's
but
what I'm
then
trying
he
to say.
ran. But
That's not a good look. That's what I'm
you
trying to
know, but
say.
but at the end of the day, um, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for fight fans, and it's a good thing for the fighters when these guys do these things when nobody gets hurt. You know, no fisticuffs and all that stuff.
Right.
It's a good thing because it builds fights. It gets people that's not entwined to boxing in there to start thinking about things
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's like, what do we all want to see? What fights do we want to see out of Canelo right now? What's the next fight that we want him to see? So, what do you expect, Andrade to do? I don't blame him for what he did, Like, if Canelo wanted to respond like that, that's his business because that's the winner circle time to speak. It ain't
Yeah.
for all that right now. It's just all some shines and gloats and all that stuff and go home.
Well,
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
here's what I think Andrade should do. He's not going to get the Canelo fight anytime soon. I think he knows
Yeah.
that. I will say this though. I think what Eddie Hearn suggested about a few weeks after the Liam Williams fight is that go after Gennady Golovkin, take that fight, go and get Golovkin and try to get him in the ring because I know Golovkin is waiting to the Morata fight.
Morata, yeah.
Yeah, but that's until December. I don't know why Golovkin's going to wait that long. I mean,
Yeah,
that
What
makes
I
no
But the
sense.
problem is Golovkin got an interim fight up
I
before then.
what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
he,
would
that,
do, what I would do if I was Andrade, what I would do when I was Andrade, believe it or not, the Caleb plan for Canelo ain't a given.
exactly.
right.
It's not.
I
It's
was gonna
not.
say.
He needs to be looking at that because Caleb Plant fucked his hand up, right?
Yeah,
So, and everybody said, "Oh, he didn't look like this," but everybody forget that he fucked his hand up, and he
right.
still won, right?
Yeah,
So, what? If I was Andre, I would try to look at what you said and that joint because Caleb Plant might. We don't know what he's gonna take. We don't know what's gonna happen with with that Canelo fight.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
I
already
want to say one thing.
If Canelo said he wants Caleb Plant next, the fight is going to happen.
Yeah, it probably will happen. We don't know when it will happen. The thing I want to say regarding Andrade, and I agree with Dan. The thing we gotta right now, Canelo is we gotta factor in. Canelo is a super middleweight, so resume. I get it. Like the resume with Billy Joe and guys like Andrade is probably nothing. You're splitting hairs. Maybe Billy Joe's is slightly better because he's fought at two weight classes or one belts at two weight classes.
I think Andy
But
Lee and Eubank
yeah,
probably
yeah.
put him a little bit ahead.
Lemieux maybe decent win as well. You could add.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
really
Decent,
rate.
decent.
I don't rate that guy. But anyway, what I was trying to say, he's a super middleweight. So I think what Dan said is a good point. Like I know you shouldn't throw away your belt, and people have said this about Dimitri Bivol as well. But if you want to fight the guy, go to the weight class and try and do something in that weight class. Either become his mandatory challenger for one of the belts, or try and get the belt that he hasn't got.
Right.
Whether or not Bivol could do that, drop it down to super middleweight, or Andrade could do that, moving up to super middleweight, I'm not sure because that belt may be their only leverage, and they don't want to get stripped or lose that. But like, if you're middleweight and you're calling out the guy who's not in your weight class, like at the moment, I don't think the fight's gonna happen. He's trying to clean up super middleweight. I just didn't like the way he handled it. I agree with what Michael was saying. It sounded like he's avoiding the guy, and you
Yeah.
don't want to give out the perception. Like you don't want to see stuff which kind of contradict what you've been doing and the guys you've been
Yeah.
fighting. But if I was Andrade, I'd try and
Yeah.
clean out the weight class you're in at the moment. Like fight
Right.
Golovkin, Morata, these guys personally.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap this up,
Hang
man.
on,
Hey,
hang on,
Oh
hang on.
man,
I get
you
my
ain't
oh,
going
turn. He
nowhere.
tried to skip over
oh,
me
I forgot.
again.
I
Nowhere.
forgot. Oh, Mr. Black. Okay,
I'll
my
be
bad.
brief.
My bad.
I'll
Okay,
be,
take us home, man. I'm gonna wrap
I'll
this
be
up.
brief. I'll be
We'll be
brief.
brief, but I gotta get off,
All
guys.
right,
I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
I've always had a lot of respect and admiration for Andrade in terms of just his ability.
Yeah.
Andrade absolutely had to do what he did. Yes, last night he had to do that because, as far as to my eyeballs, Andrade, and this is no knock, it's just a description. He's what I call a reflex fighter, and
Right.
to me, the sand from what I've seen over these last couple fights, the sand's running out of the hourglass on him, man, and it's a shame. It's a real. I'm not trying to put the boots to him though, Hamid. I like Andrade. I really do.
But I like the analogy. I just like the
No, yeah, but
analogy
it's
too.
fair. The sand's running out of the hourglass, and right now, I mean, my man's resume's mud. It's horrid. It's all. I mean,
I
really,
agree.
historically speaking, it's horrid, and it's a shame because it's not at
It's
all
not his fault.
reflective.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not reflective of his abilities.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
that's a good point, but and again, both guys are probably at fault for last night. But I mean, it is as Michael Johnson said, it is refreshing to see a fighter do that because it does create a lot of buzz and fans' interest and whatnot. But hey, guys, I gotta wrap it up. I really gotta go. Hey, thank you
Yes.
guys for
You
coming on. I
win.
know, man.
You win.
I know, man. I know. I wish I can go longer, but I can't. I gotta tend some other business now because it's
Nah, it's
getting
all
late.
good, bro.
No,
I
he's
appreciate.
done.
Appreciate you, Dan.
I
No
appreciate you
problem.
guys for
Appreciate
coming
you
on,
having me
man.
on.
Yep,
Nah,
yep.
no problem, guys. No problem, guys. Take care. All right. Ahmed, Michael Johnson, Mike from
Yeah,
Pound for Pound
yeah.
Boxing, 43 Kings Boxing. Before you check out their channels, Mr. Doc, is always a pleasure, man.
Yes, sir.
And shout out to the chat. I like to do this. Shout out to now Boxing Pigeons. I didn't catch these comments. You were disrespecting our man. That's not good, bro.
Pigeon, yeah, no,
Not good.
ignore Pigeon,
Yeah.
ignore Pigeon.
Pigeon, I don't know you, but please, if you want to come in here, let's show a little bit of respect here, because
No,
next time
I know about. I'll tell you right now. Just ignore Pigeon. Trust me. Trust me.
All
That's a
right.
troll.
Yeah,
That's
he's
a
a troll.
troll.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Lisa Bell. Shout out to Lisa
Yeah.
Bell. Got to have you
Yeah.
back on the show sometime.
Yeah, shout out to
Lisa.
Lisa Bell. Shout out to Blood.
Yes.
And shout out to Mr. Boxing today. Big
Dan,
boys over there. What's up, bud? Go ahead,
can I
Albert.
just say, did we forget about David Benavidez? Is that a guy who also needs to try and do something? Because I think we forgot to
Yeah,
mention.
yeah, he's got to do something too, man. I mean, you can't have these ongoing outside the ring issues derail your career. That's what it seems like at this point with David Benavidez. He's gotta clean up, man. Seriously, this can
Yeah.
destroy your boxing career. He's
Well,
got to
he put
clean up.
himself. I'll tell you real one sentence. David Benavidez put himself to the back of the queue.
He did.
That's what he did.
That's
what he
true.
did.
That's true.
Yeah.
I wanted to see
Yeah.
him on platform, but Dan, appreciate you having me on. Thanks for having me on.
Yes,
No
sir.
problem,
Jeez,
man.
guys. Sir.
Peace, guys. Yeah, and shout out, and real
You know what?
quickly, if you like, give my quick shout outs. D Style Boxing, always a pleasure. D Style, Blood, Mr. Boxing today. Those are my brothers. Known them for a long time. Big Boys Boxing, Bike Doctor, Steven 4722, Lisa Bells. All right, guys, shout out to you, to the sisters, Lisa Bells. Who else am I missing? Who else am I missing? Who else am I missing? I like to give these shout outs, guys. So I think I got everybody here. Raider came in early. Shout out to Raider, Black and Brown Boxing, Haplotype, Joe Lopez. So shout out to everybody, Douglas Allen. Yeah, who else I got? Yeah, that's about it, man. So thank you guys for coming on. I'm about to log off. Until next time, peace.
Yay.